Hey, mommies, welcome back. Today is another episode of Wisdom Wednesdays, and you guys selected the topic, and that's raising a strong willed child. Now, whether you call them strong willed, spirited, difficult, bad, terrible twos, whatever you want to refer it, it's still the same. I have two kids, a boy and a girl, and my son is the oldest. He's definitely my spirited child. He gets it honest from his mama. In those first 3 years, I was really having almost like a power struggle with my kid. Like, why am I arguing? I'm a grown woman. Why am I arguing with a toddler? Why am I getting so upset at what he's doing? And what it really taught me was when you parent, it's like a reflection, just like any relationship. When you have a relationship, it should be a reflection. You should be looking at whatever you see in that person, you should see in yourself. Or you see in yourself, that's why it bothers you so much. So I would definitely say parenting has helped me with character building. It's helped me with reflecting and realizing some of the things I can change, my own self-control, my own egos, my own mood swings or character traits that I can improve. So I wanted to dive right into it. We hear phrases like spirited, strong-willed, bad, difficult kids, and oftentimes those personality traits in children that we notice at a young age, we see those in adults and we compliment the adult for having those same traits. I hate when you talk to girls and people say, oh, she's so bossy. Oh, she's so sassy. Not really. What if she's a future leader? What if she's a future boss and will be an awesome lawyer? What if she's not grown? What if she's mature? I like to challenge people on how they describe or what words that they put over their children. I'm very big into speaking life and positivity over your kids because I feel like when you don't, they only emulate that same energy or whatever you're saying that they are. They're only going to mimic that behavior. But when you switch it up and you start speaking positive words into them, then you notice that there's a shift change. There's a character change. They are starting to be more mature and they're starting to problem solve more. If we learn as parents how to redirect those negative traits into positive traits, oh man, can you just imagine like when you were a kid, if your parents, instead of saying, oh, you're bossy, you're sassy, if they told you, wow, you're going to be a real leader one day, you're going to really impact the world with your ideas and your thoughts, you're going to be someone that everyone listens to. Doesn't that already make you feel good? So I feel like, why can't we do the same with our own kids? I'm going to go into talking about the 4 strategies that I use to help me raise my spirited child. The first one, understanding you and your child's temperaments and traits. Number 2, understanding the differences between negative and positive labels and redirecting negative energy and making it positive. Number 3, handling the tantrums and power struggles when they occur and how to get your children to express themselves in a way that they can problem solve with their own feelings. And number 4, my favorite, learning your child's love language. So if you want to take out a pen and pencil and write these things down, I would just recommend it. So number 1, understanding your child's temperament and personality traits as well as your own. I'm a Sagittarius, okay? I'm also from Dade County, so I'm the turn-up queen. I have a type A personality. I'm a perfectionist. I don't like being told what to do. I don't like being controlled. I like to do the controlling. So as you can imagine, when I had my son, my little Virgo, Prince, who does not like to be wrong, does not like to be told what to do, always thinks he's right, you could definitely tell we had a power struggle from the beginning. So understanding my own temperament was definitely something I had to like soul dive and dig deep and realize. Like I said, I was a hothead. I like to control things. And I had to, one, realize, well, when I'm in the opposite end, I don't like being controlled. So how can I expect my child to respond to what I'm saying if he's the same way? I also realized that as parents, we can't control our kids. I was watching an episode of Red Table Talk with Jada Pinkett, and she was talking about parenting, and her mom and her were chiming in on their different parenting approaches. And she said that her mom couldn't accept the fact that how she parented was completely like off the grid compared to, the old school approach. And Jada said that, yeah, I told my mom that I don't control my children. They make their own decisions. And her mom was like, that's crazy to me. And I remember thinking to myself, wow, she's right. As a mom, you cannot control your kids. You can try, but you're only going to get so far, because when they're not around you, they're still going to do what they want to do. We have free will for that very reason. We know what's right, but sometimes we still make bad choices because we don't like being controlled. It's a human feeling not to like being controlled, yet we still try to control people. So it was really like a blow to my ego and just a shedding of me liking to be in control, and realizing that you as a parent can offer guidance, support, help, nurturing, provide a safe environment, and you could do all those things and still get the same result versus trying to control your child. And that's what I had to start doing. I had to start understanding that his thought process and mine may not be the same. A toddler has an attention span of a toddler. They're not going to hear everything out the first time. They're not going to do everything the first time because they have a short attention span. So, of course, as a parent, I'm going to have to repeat myself over and over. And that's something that but you don't really realize when you're a parent, because you feel like when you're dealing with your kid, you think that you're dealing with another adult the way that you talk to them. Well, I shouldn't have to tell you more than once to do something. Yes, if it's a toddler, yes, you do. Until they get a certain age, probably like middle school almost. Because you do have to keep reiterating and repeating things to them. So what I started doing was asking my son to repeat after me when I say to do something. I say, when you get home, you need to do what? And he'll say, take my shoes off. I said, that's right. Go put your coat where? In the closet. You have to give them little strategies like that to help them with remembering, because their minds can only process so much at a time. And then your mind can only process repeating or getting frustrated at a certain time. That is just like gonna blow up. So it's okay to walk away and take a break. My husband, he has like all the patience in the world. There are times where I look at him, I'll be like, I can't deal with your kids today. You need to do it. And he'll be like, okay, go have a break. Sometimes we just need that mental break, because I can't parent effectively if I'm not good myself. If I have an attitude, if I'm pissed off about something that happened in my personal life or at work or anything, and I can't take that out on my kid, because that makes me an ineffective parent and it makes my discipline ineffective. We just have to be more understanding. And that was a hard pill for me to swallow. Like I said, it was really a shedding of my ego. So I know some of y'all like, I'm finna cut this off. I don't like this, but it's the truth. And we got to talk about it. So step 2, discovering the power of positive labels instead of negative labels. Using negative energy and making it positive and productive. So I have substituted both in general education and special education. And one thing I could truly say about all children is, if a kid isn't given the right outlet or feels comfortable, they're going to act out and misbehave. But the power of redirecting that negative energy into positive is something really powerful. My friends in education, they always talk to me about the Oreo method. 2 positives and 1 negative that's in the middle. Or the negative really isn't a negative, it's an improvement area. I want to just give you guys an example. So let's say my son's name is Josh. He's in high school, right? And I'm talking to my friend on the phone, and I'm like, girl, in front of Josh. And I'm like, girl, Josh asked, he failing math, and he not doing his work, and he bringing home all D's and F's. And I just don't know what's wrong with him. How do you think Josh is going to respond to hearing that about himself? don't know why as parents we think shaming or embarrassing our kids is going to miraculously change how they feel. Josh gonna sit there and listen to that, and he gonna be like, I can't stand my mom. She always telling people my business. Or he's gonna feel like, wow, my mama just called me a failure to her friend. Is that what she really thinks about? About me? Am I a failure? Well, if she thinks I'm a failure, what's the point of doing good in math? Because obviously I'm stupid. Obviously I can't get it. And that's what I say about speaking life into your kids, redirecting that energy. What if the same scenario, but I use the Oreo method? Positive, positive, improvement area in between. Talking to my friend, and I say, girl, yeah, Josh got this math class that he's seems to be struggling in, but his last grade he got was an F, and then today he brought home a D. So it looks like he's improving, or he's at least understanding some of the methods. But if I work to get him a tutor, or if I continue working with him, I'm sure he'll pull up his grades in no time. Now, think about how that makes Josh feel. Like, wow, my mom has hope in me. Like, she takes pride. Like, she's noticing that, okay, yeah, I may have gotten an F, and now I got a D. A D is still failing, but I'm improving. What do you think Josh is going to want to do? He's going to want to get what? A higher grade next time. He's going to want to strive for a C or a B or A until he gets to that point. Just because she used a different approach and redirected that negativity or those labels over him. Strategy 3, handling tantrums or power struggles and allowing your child to articulate their feelings. So I tell people all the time, I'm raising a black man, a black boy. He's eventually going to become a black man. You need to learn how to express yourself. And I want my son to learn that he has to express himself through words, because you cannot internalize your feelings and bottle it up and lash out on people, because that's not cool. Their authority that you have to speak to, your future spouse. How can I, as a woman, knowing what it's like to date emotionally unavailable men, sit here and raise a man like that, telling him, oh, you better not cry. Oh, stop crying. Stop being punk. Stop being soft. Stop being this. Stop being that. You only telling him that it's not okay to express themselves. Then here come a woman 20 years down the line saying, I don't understand why he just can't tell me how he feels, or I don't understand why he won't open up. And he doesn't understand because he's been told that he's not supposed to do that his whole life. And now he's meeting somebody who wants it from him. And that's just completely confusing. And I'm not having that for my son. One of the things that I've noticed was when I had my daughter, I noticed, they have a little bit of sibling rivalry, jealousy there. And I noticed that when she was starting to become more mobile, I would let them play together in their rooms, because he would be like, come on, Callie, come in my room, let's play. And then after a while, like 10, 15 minutes out, and the baby would be crying, I'll say, what happened? And he'll say, I don't know. So that's when I was like, hey, okay, I need to figure out his thought process, because they were just playing cute and it went from 0 to 100 real quick. So I would sit him down and I was like, okay, I want you to tell mommy, why did you do that? Of course, he's 2. He don't understand. He was like, I don't know. So I was like, okay, let me give him a choice, right? So if we give our kids choices, then they can learn how to, 1, problem solve, 2, think critically, but also to help him understand with making better decisions. So I'm all about this whole good choices, right? So I was like, was that a good choice? Yes or no? And he'll say, no. And I'll say, were you happy or are you angry? And he'll say, angry. Why are you angry? I try to break it down in a way that he can understand and comprehend, because at the end of the day, that's the whole point of communication. We're teaching our kids communication skills so that they know how to express themselves instead of internalizing it. And I call it like the 2-choice step strategy, or the 2-step choice strategy, and teaching your kids that it's okay to have a choice, but you have to be willing to understand that one comes with a reward and one comes with a consequence. So you have to choose which one you want. That's in life, right? We have free will to do what we want to do. Sometimes it's good, sometimes it's not. Now when he gets frustrated, I even talk to his daycare teachers. I'm like, if you notice he gets frustrated, give him a few minutes, let him cool off, and let him tell you what frustrated him so that he can get back and start, playing or doing his work. And it's worked well. I would say it only took about 3 months for him to get the concept. And now he'll say, I'm not happy. I want to go to my room and sit down. And I'll say, okay, okay, buddy, do that. That's what you need to do. That's good. Like, I encourage it because at the end of the day, he's going to know what makes him happy and what doesn't. And I'm going to know as his parent so that I can help him get over those hurdles. So step 4, which is my favorite strategy, and I think the most important strategy, what really brought everything full circle, is learning your child's love language. There is a book called The 5 Love Languages, and I read it. I was familiar with it when I started dating my husband, and then I just so happened to be going back over it because I was working on a project with my friend. And an incident happened where my son was misbehaving at daycare, and he came home, and I thought, if I pop him good, he'll go back to school and I won't have that issue again. Wrong. I popped him, he went back to school, and he misbehaved again. And so I popped him again that day, he went to school and misbehaved again. And I was like, okay, wait, how come that's not working? So I tell parents all the time, you have to figure out what approach works with your child. Some kids, you can discipline them with words. Some you have to discipline them physical. I realized with my son, physical discipline, it did nothing for him. I pop him, he'll look at me in my face like this. Or he would just do it to his peers. And then I can't tell him, you can't hit your friends, and then I'm hitting him, So I had to figure out, okay, I got to try something else. What's another strategy or approach? So I talked to his teachers at daycare, and they were like, well, when he gets upset, we kind of put him in timeout. So I was like, timeout? Oh, that's so funny. Like, who believes in timeout? So I said, okay, whatever. I'm just, for the heck of it, I'm just going to put him in timeout. Baby, that isolation did something to my child. He was like, no, please don't put me in timeout. I don't want to go in timeout. He had more of a reaction to being told he was going to go to timeout than me popping him. And so I was like, okay, I guess we'll be using timeout from now on. Then one random day, I made the kids dinner, and it was probably something healthy. And as they were eating, I was cleaning up, and he said, Mom, this food is disgusting. I'm just like, and I was like, Arian, that really hurt my feelings. That was not nice. And his whole facial expression changed. He was like, Mommy, I'm sorry. I mean, his eyes got all watery. And I was like, how am I evoking this type of emotion out of you with words versus physical discipline? I'm still stuck on that. Like, I'm still going back to like, why is this bothering him? But when I, disciplined him physically, that didn't work. And so I realized my son's love language is words of affirmation. You could build him up or you could tear him down with your words. And I realized that physical touch, which is another love language, is not his. That's why he doesn't receive it. That's why it means nothing to him if he were to be physically disciplined. So I started using words more. I started telling him and complimenting him when he did a great job. I started telling him even when he did something he was expected to do, I would still thank you. Thank you, Arian, for making the right choice. Thank you for putting the seat down. Thank you for washing your hands. Thank you for doing this. Because he felt proud. It was like all of a sudden it was just a mind shift. Now he was doing things because he wanted to hear me give him a word of encouragement, or he wanted to hear that affirmation. And his behavior drastically decreased as a result. And so one thing I tell my friends all the time when they say, my kid's giving me some trouble, I don't understand why they're doing X, Y, and Z. And I was like, well, what's their love language? That is so key. My daughter, my baby, she's 18, 19 months. Her love language is clearly physical touch and quality time. I say physical touch because she loves being held, kissed, hugged, cuddled. I mean, she even does it with her Barbie doll. I mean, her baby doll. Like, she'll hold the baby and she'll kiss the baby. So for her, I have to constantly give her that type of love so that she feels secure and that she understands things. With physical discipline, that's not going to be good for her either, because she looks at physical touch as being something good, not something drastic. If I were to spank my daughter, that may give her a really bad reaction, because she's not used. She looks at touch, your hands, as a positive thing, not a negative. So I'm going to go over all 5 of the love languages. You can figure out which one works or which one is probably best for your child. There is a quiz, but if your kid is young and they can't, understand how to take a quiz, then you can figure it out just from being their parent. What's their love language? 1, receiving gifts. 2, quality time. 3, words of affirmation. 4, acts of service. And 5, physical touch. So 1, receiving gifts. Those are children who absolutely love gifts. Okay, so we're like, all kids love gifts. No, but they also like giving gifts. Not only are they receiving, but they love giving gifts. That's a huge sense of joy and excitement, a sense of fulfillment when they make you stuff. Like when you go to daycare, they say, "Oh, mommy, I made this for you. I made this for you." That's a child who really loves making you happy through giving you something. If your child loves receiving gifts, then you can work with disciplining them and saying, "Hey, if you continue to be good, then mommy will get you X, Y, and Z that you've been looking for." It doesn't have to be something expensive. It could be, a book. It could be, if they like Ninja Turtles, it could be socks. Something so that they are working towards a reward. They're working towards receiving something that they want in return. The second, quality time, that is more so for the child who not only wants you to be present physically, but mentally and emotionally. They need you to sit and play with them. They're not a child who is independent in the sense of you can leave them in their room and they'll play by themselves. No, these children are like, "Mommy, I want you to play with me. Mommy, I want you to do this with me. Mommy, can I go to the store with you? Mommy, can I cook with you? Can I help you?" When you hear your child always ask for a sense of help and they want to do something, those are kids who love quality time. They love not only being around you, but doing something with you. 3, words of affirmation. This is for the child where if you tell them that you're disappointed in them, that's bigger, or that affects them more than if you spank them, like I said. Words of affirmation is very critical, because the same way that they react positively to kind words, that means they can possibly react poorly to negative words. Saying things like, "Oh, you're stupid, you're a failure, sit your butt down, why are you doing that, why are you acting like that?" If your child's love language is words of affirmation, you have to make sure that you're careful and that you help them with attracting people who are going to continuously build them up in a positive way. They definitely don't need friendships or relationships, or even be put in classrooms with teachers who are negative or talk down to them, saying, "You'll never be this, you'll never do something like that." You have to, if that is your child's love language, you have to be super sensitive and keen on that so that you can make sure they're in a good environment, because you only want the best for your kid. Number 4, acts of service is more like playing in the park with your child, playing catch, playing throw. It's also similar to spending quality time, but you're doing what they love to do. They may love to sing, and you're supporting that dream and getting them lessons to sing. Or if they like playing the guitar or piano, getting them lessons to strengthen their craft. Acts of service is whatever their enjoyment hobby is, you're supportive of that. So if your child is really into sports, then showing up for their games is an act of service. That is important to them. Kids who see that their parents don't come to their games and they their love language is acts of service, that really hurts them, and that can really impact how they perform at the game, how they internalize those that hurt or pain or disappointment in their parents. So that's another critical one. Make sure if your child has that love language to nurture that. And last but not least, physical touch. Something as simple as giving them a pat on the back, rubbing their shoulder, playing with their hair, or, caressing their cheek. You don't always have to, go above and beyond if that's not your personal love language, but they need a sense of physical touch to know that you acknowledge them, you appreciate them, and that they're safe. And I know sometimes, if you have a child that is, and you don't really like touch, it's annoying. But just because it's annoying to you or something that you don't like doing doesn't necessarily mean that it's not what they like to do. So I would say that if your child has their love language is physical touch, then reassure them with positive strokes, a pat on the back, or say, hey, high five, handshake, things like that. That's how you can implement it in different ways if you yourself aren't comfortable in giving them physical touch. So as I conclude this episode, I want to just remind us as parents that children only mimic the behaviors that they see. So whatever you are putting out there is the same thing they're going to emulate. It's the same way they're going to behave, the same way they're going to act. I really hope that this video just kind of maybe opened your eyes or opened you up to, trying different approaches or strategies with your kids. I hope I didn't, rub too many people the wrong way, but I just feel like as parents, we can always be better, and there are improvement areas. You may watch this video and you may have some tips for me, and I'll take that. But the one thing I want you all to do is to just tune in to what your child likes or what triggers them, what makes them happy, what makes them sad or angry, where are their behaviors coming from. Reinforcing discipline with positive, stern strategies is the most effective. I know some people are like, no, that don't work. Well, the way that you're doing it right now is not working, so it doesn't hurt to do it in a different way, Always be a student instead of a teacher, because if you're a student, that means that you're constantly learning. And on this journey in parenthood, we are constantly learning. So definitely incorporate some of these strategies, if not all of them, and let me know. Seriously, comment and let me know how they work for you guys. I hope you guys have a great week, and see you next time. Bye, mommies.